Alright guys, what's going on? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. And you know what? As of the time of this recording, we are 2 days away from the insider session for XDefiant, which means, in other words, it's going to be like a little 20 to 30 minute sort of in-depth in terms of what we're going to be getting in Season 1. And then the following day, we are getting Season 1. So we're 3 days away from Season 1, 2 days away from all the info that we need in terms of Season 1. And you know what? I am going to basically say that I think Season 1 is actually going to be the most important season of them all. Yes, I wholeheartedly believe that. And I even thought about it. I said to myself, you know what? Maybe Season 2 is more important. And I'll get into that in a second. But no, Season 1 is the most important season, okay? And the biggest reason, actually, there's two big reasons of why I think this. Number one, as we know, Season 1 actually lasts for entirety of 3 months. So basically everything that we're not going to be getting from the get-go, however, the features and content that we're going to be getting within those 3 months after the launch of Season 1 is a really big deal. And from what a lot of people had mentioned, it's like there's a whole bunch of really important features that are basically needed in a first-person shooter like this. So Season 1 is basically like I mentioned before in a previous video, and even Mark Rubin in the interview with him, the more recent video that I did, or one of the previous ones, I don't remember which, I basically mentioned how Season 0, the preseason, right, of these last 6 weeks or whatnot, that are about to be done with, has kind of been like almost like a demo or a beta of the game, so to speak, right, in terms of content and features, you know, that come with the game. And then obviously once we hit Season 1, we are going ahead full steam, full throttle. And I full-heartedly believe that. As a matter of fact, I even remember one of you guys in the comments section mentioning that. So it's like, okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks like this. Between myself, some of the people in the comment section, as well as Mark Rubin himself, in terms of him mentioning that at some point in time. I don't remember where he mentioned it. It could have been the previous interview video that I covered with him, or it could have been another previous one or whatnot. But anyway, so Season 1 is extremely important, you know, and it's really the kind of season to where you can actually not only call your audience back as to, hey, Season 1 is out, you know, there's all these features and content coming, but also to keep them, right? And another reason why I think Season 1 is the most important is because, well, first impressions are everything. First impressions are absolutely everything. And when it comes to video games, that's no exception, right? Video games are no exception, and just pretty much about every aspect in life, first impressions are extremely important. You know, it's really good to put your best foot forward, so to speak, right? Season 0 was all about the bare essentials, right? The bare of the bare of the bare of the bare essentials, right? Get the game out, and all the very basic things that the game actually has, just try to improve on those as best you can, while maybe even adding a few things, like for instance Team Deathmatch. I wasn't really expecting Team Deathmatch until Season 1, and that was even before the game came out. I made videos about it, and lo and behold, we actually got it, what, about a couple weeks or so after launch, or 2 to 3 weeks after launch, which was awesome. So basically at this point, actually, no, I think it was 4 weeks after launch. But anyway, so basically at this point, for those of you guys that are very new around here, by the way, thank you very much for being here. You guys have been really awesome with the amount of support on the channel lately. Thank you very much. I made a video not too long ago talking about that a storm is coming, and it doesn't matter if it's a shit storm or not. And what I mean by this is, it doesn't matter if the storm is you know, a storm that is of quality in terms of the game itself, or what you think of the storm or not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's still a storm, and it is going to have some sort of impact on XDefiant. Now, granted, there are those players that will never go back, for instance, to Call of Duty or whatnot, even if it is Black Ops 6, because of all that other stuff going on and stuff like that. But regardless of whether or not you go back, or for whatever reason you go back, you know, some of you guys are going back because you actually enjoy the multiplayer and don't care about the EOMM, SBMM. Some of you guys are going because of zombies and campaign. Some of you guys want to play Warzone. Whatever the deal is, right? For whatever reason is, that's besides the point. It doesn't matter, respectfully speaking, of course. What does matter, though, is that there are also players that are going to be going back and forth between the two games, and there are other players out there that they're just using XDefiant as a placeholder until the next Call of Duty comes out. Those are basically the different kind of categories of players that we have here, you know? So anyway, But at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, XDefiant is in some way, shape, or form going to be impacted. Even though XDefiant's trying to do its own thing or whatnot, at the end of the day, you really can't deny the fact that XDefiant is competition for Call of Duty. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm not meaning it in a state to where it's like, oh, XDefiant is aiming to take Call of Duty down. No, I'm simply aiming at the fact that XDefiant is another arcade shooter on the market now. You know, what other arcade shooter have we had on the market, you know, that's available on all platforms, in current gen platforms, right? With, you know, this kind of, you know, support and everything else. And in terms of what we're going to be getting for, you know, on a monthly, seasonal basis or whatnot, what other game out there on regular consoles and that is as recognizable as it is out there other than Call of Duty? And the answer is none, to my knowledge, right? So so that makes it automatic competition, you know, whether or not it's capable of you know, of holding a candle against Call of Duty remains to be seen. But from a financial standpoint, let's just be real here. The answer to that is that it can't, at least right now, right? Like I mentioned in the previous video, it's going to take a long time before that can even become a discussion. However, in terms of a quality game, a quality multiplayer game, that is a completely different story. That is something that can really build over time. And remember, Call of Duty is meant to last every year, and XDefiant is meant to last beyond that. It's a game that's going to be receiving, fingers crossed, continuous support year after year after year, month after month after month, et cetera, season after season. So it's something that can start as being this, you know, concept, and then it could grow to be this whole other phenomenon, so to speak. And that's what makes XDefiant so important, and that's what XDefiant actually does have over Call of Duty. It's not something that, it's not a game that just wants to be supported for 1 year and then you're starting from scratch again or bringing in something else to the table. It's something that's going to be completely evolving, right? So you're literally going to see the evolution of a game that right now, in some of your guys' eyes, may not be exactly where you want it to be. Of course, I don't think any one of us could say that it's exactly what we want. I mean, a lot of us can grade it high, right? It's giving us what we want, but in terms of what we foresee in this game and what its potential is, it's not there. It still has ways to go, right? But we do have this vision of this game, so to speak. And year one is the most important, excuse me, not year one, excuse me. Well, yeah, year one, but season one is more important, you know? And I kept on going back and forth between season one and season two, because season two will be releasing the same month that Black Ops 6 is going to be releasing. Granted, it's going to be about 3 to 4 weeks later when Black Ops 6 releases. I think Black Ops 6 is going to release 3 weeks after season 2 releases for XDefiant. So season 2 will be important. There's no doubt about it. And who knows? I even may make a video saying, you know what, guys, maybe I was wrong. Maybe season 2 is the most important. But to be honest, because first impressions are important, and what season 1 will entail, right, in the next 12 weeks in terms of what we're going to be getting, not just from the content that we already know what we're going to be getting, but we're talking about things like quality of life, additional features, bug fixes, desync fixes, back and forth between the community. What are they going to do about competitive and all that kind of stuff? Like, there's a whole bunch of other little things going on that the devs are going to be definitely busy. I mean, even though they've already made the content, they're like a year ahead of time in terms of what we're getting content wise. There's still a whole bunch of other things that the devs are going to have to be busy with in terms of making the game just that much better overall. And I do believe that the game is actually going to be making a lot of improvements on all the important factors. I mean, it already has in some ways, you know, such as adding team deathmatch and a few other fixes that they did, like with the XP and stuff like that. And actually, to be honest, from at least with my experience, from the game just feels better from release up until we have now. Again, still a long ways to go. Again, desync issue is still an issue, but all this stuff. But ultimately, the game just feels really good and a lot better and even smoother, dare I say. So the more, not only the more I play it, but the more the game continues to get updated, the more all these little things will be fixed up. And let's not mention the factions and probably a few things that they're going to have to readjust as far as the factions are concerned. But you put everything together, season 1 really is that important. And season 2, I think, will be kind of like a reinforcement to season 1 and things, again, taking another step forward. I honestly think that with every season with XDefiant, I think every season is really going to count. And I sincerely mean that. Like, not just from a content standpoint, but in terms of like game support standpoint, I just feel like every single season is something that we can pretty much guarantee that we're going to be getting like something significant, as opposed to, oh, here's some more content. You know, you'll be engaged for like a couple weeks, and then after that, you're just going to put the game down or whatnot. No, I think the additional things that we're going to be getting along with the content in terms of bug fixes, quality of life, balancing, and everything else that we've mentioned that we may not get immediately at the launch of season 1. All those other things really do add up. I kid you not. The community has been very vocal about this. Content creators have been very vocal about this. A lot of people have. And the good thing about all this is that the devs are actually listening and they're actually communicating with us, which is, again, another strong point that, Call of Duty just isn't doing, and obviously, like I mentioned in the previous video, they don't have to because they're already pretty much guaranteed money. So many people have already pre-ordered Black Ops 6. They've already pre-ordered Black Ops 6, even though they haven't, paid in full, their $70 or whatnot before even getting the game. You know what I mean? So, before the beta or whatnot or whatever it is, back in the day, you only had to pay $5 to access for the beta and to pre-order the game. You weren't paying full price. You weren't going to pay full price unless you wanted to, unless you had an option to. Now, it's like, to pre-order the game, you got to pay full price, to my knowledge, unless GameStop, because back in the day, I only used to order at GameStop before things became as digital as they've become. So basically, you had to give, $5 to pre-order or whatnot. You get your little receipt thing or whatnot, and you get access to the beta that way or whatnot, and that would pretty much be it. And if you like the beta, you'd go right back and pay pay in full if you wanted to, or you could just wait until the midnight release to go in with your receipt that you pre-ordered, and you pay for the rest right then and there. That's how it used to be. But right now that's changed, and they're using that to their advantage. And again, one more thing that XDefiant has is that it's free to play. Some people will look at that as a positive, other people will look at that as a negative for whatever reason. But ultimately, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, what matters is that the potential is still there, and that the devs have already shown a lot of things that are very important to the community. So, and again, like I said, a storm is coming as far as Black Ops 6 is concerned. And this particular season in Season 1, as well as Season 2, which is almost equally as important, because it's not the first season, but it's almost equally as important, is damn near close to equally as important, because it's going to be the season that comes out 3 weeks before Black Ops 6 releases. And at the same time, I see it as a as a way for, let's say for instance, you have a few people, like obviously this is predicting something that none of us can predict at this point, but let's say there's a few people that that will be like, let's just say they expected more from Season 1, right? Let's say they did a good job in Season 1, but let's say they don't do as good of a job as we think they will, right? Well, Season 2 will pretty much put all those things to rest. So that's what I think. I think we'll get a lot of stuff in Season 1, but maybe not everything. And I think Season 2 will finish that off, and then, fine-tune the engine, so to speak. But with that being said, what do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Where are you guys at in terms of, the whole Black Ops 6? Like, are you gonna stop playing XDefiant when Black Ops 6 comes out? Or are you gonna stick with XDefiant? Or are you gonna stick with XDefiant multiplayer and then just use Black Ops 6 for campaign and zombies or whatnot? Like, there's literally a whole bunch of different combinations in terms of how you can approach this. Now, as far as this channel is concerned, again, and I'm saying this for those of you who are new, those of you guys that have been around for any point in time will know this already, but despite the fact that I have Game Pass Ultimate or whatnot, I will not be playing Black Ops 6. I do not play Call of Duty for campaigns. I have never really been a zombies player. I've played both campaigns and zombies. Campaigns and Call of Duties are fine. They're always really solid. Other than their length. Let's see. Zombies I never really got into. I'm not a Battle Royale player, and obviously we know the problem with multiplayer that you can make it look like the nicest pig in the world, that's very appealing, but at the end of the day, it's still a pig. You can put as much lipstick on that thing as possible, but it's still a pig at the end of the day. And I would rather play a game than the game playing me, no matter how appealing it is. And I haven't touched a COD since the beginning of Vanguard. And ever since then, it's all good. And I'm just happy at this point that we have XDefiant, and I really am looking forward to seeing what XDefiant provides to us in Season 1. And for content, I'm really excited. I'm excited about the new maps coming up. I'm excited about the new modes. I think a lot of things will happen with the new modes and stuff like that in terms of what we're going to get. The new weapons, using new weapons is also exciting. I really want to see what else Mark Rubin and the crew will have to say in terms of interviews and stuff like that. I'm excited to make content for XDefiant. Simple as that, really. So so please, if in case you guys are wondering for if I'm going to be doing Black Ops 6 content, the answer to that is no. I may mention the game or whatnot, because of some of the other content creators that are actually doing both, XDefiant, Call of Duty or whatnot. I'm going to be watching guys like Blame Truth. I'm going to be watching guys like 8 Thoughts or the Ghost of 8. I'm going to be watching all the other XDefiant content creators that are also going to be covering Black Ops 6. But in terms of playing Black Ops 6 or doing content on Black Ops 6 itself, the answer to that is no. For me personally, unless they were to remove that algorithm, so to speak, and keep it off, as far as the Call of Duty ship is concerned, it has sailed. But to be honest with you, even if they did remove that, that algorithm that we all know and hate so much, I would still hesitate about going back to that because, number one, I've been there before and I had problems with Call of Duty because I saw the direction it was going before it got to the point to where it did in Modern Warfare 2019 and beyond. But it's also the fact that, for so many years, we've been ignored. And with XDefiant, it's the opposite of that. So, I'm not going to go back to that X when I've got, when I'm in a relationship with this one here, which is XDefiant. You know what I mean? Using my relationship analogy again. How in the world did I go from food analogy to relationship analogy, man? But anyway, guys, I've talked long enough. I want to know down in the comment section what you guys think and what your opinions are and where you stand in this whole thing. And as always, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch and or listen. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.